Hello, hello. Okay. I think we're live now. Man in the red cape, hello. How's it going, mate? Thanks for joining the stream. Thank you for joining the Discord as well this week. Really appreciate it. Have you been busy this week so far? What have you been up to? I've been working on a few different things. Well, first of all, actually, let me know if you can hear me. I've got some music in the background, but I might just turn it down a little bit. Yeah, what have you been working on this week? I think today I'm going to be trying to work on this image that I've just started. Working on some lore for my world, right on. I think lore is something I need to get a bit more into because I've really been obviously doing a lot with a lot of the images and everything, but I really need to focus a little bit more on writing up some of the ideas for actually what is happening in the world. What do you think of the new stream overlay as well? I was working on that after the last stream. Trevor Star, we love lore. We do indeed. I'd say, I think in the Discord, everyone's writing makes me jealous because it's like something I struggle with a little bit. I can do short snippets of lore stuff, but I feel like I need to get a bit more practiced at it for sure. Throndix, ahoy fellas. Hey mate, thanks for joining us again. Just getting started on this image. I've managed to get quite far. Yeah, we love lore. Exactly, yeah. Sibane, hello. Welcome. I can see we've got our Twitch people in as well. Although the Twitch overlay is not quite working. Let me see if I can fix that. The problem I'm having at the moment with all this overlay stuff is I think the people on YouTube will be able to see the Twitch chat if I get it fixed. I just need to fix it now. But the people on Twitch will not be able to see the YouTube comments. So I'm sorry about that. I'll try to read them out just so you guys can see it if that is the case. Why isn't that working? If we can get this fixed, maybe that'll work a bit better. Been working on so many things, it's crazy. What have you been working on? I really liked I was telling other people about your magic system, Trivial Staff. I was saying like I like the kind of the give and take idea of making sure that magic has like a cost to it. Because I always feel like that's something that makes magic really cool. I think we were talking about in the Discord just about how things like The Witcher is like a good representation of magic. Like you have to pay for magic. I always thought it was pretty cool. I'm not sure why this Twitch overlay is not working correctly, so I'm just going to set it up again very quickly and then get to drawing. Sorry about that. Let me just put that there. Maybe I hid it too far back. What's that? That's that. Okay, that should be good. Right. Okay, it's going to reset, and then hopefully Twitch chat will appear. Okay, never mind. I'm sure it'll reset at some point. So wait, did you make the mouth move on the bard? That's amazing. I love that. Yeah, thank you. So one of the other people in the Discord, Alba, she does streaming on Twitch as well. I was watching her stream, I think, last week, and she has like a little, I think they're called PNG tubers. And essentially it's like just a bunch of animated pictures. So you draw it with the mouth open and with the eyes closed. And it will animate it so it looks like it's talking and blinking. So the mouth moves every time I talk. And it blinks randomly. And I made it into a little GIF with the hand and the foot. So yeah, I think it's come out quite cool, right? I had to do the Bracken Bard. I haven't represented him enough, I think, in images. I've only done a few images of him, but he's got to be there for sure. Some of my worlds, some Fallout thing for a friend, some Nation RP, whole bunch of stuff. Damn, you're doing a lot. How do you find the time for it? I remember you were saying before that you were helping some friends with some, or a friend with their magic system as well. I think that's a cool thing, like just helping other people work on their world building projects, or just even discussing it, even if it's not like giving advice, just chatting about it. I think it's just a good way to stay inspired and come up with some cool ideas. Sibane on okay, nice. Okay, the Twitch is working now. That's good. Although it's hidden by that's not very good. It's hidden by the plants. Okay. I'll have to make these a bit transparent. 1 second, sir. I'm just gonna maybe if I can move it a little bit here. Then we should be able to see the comments a bit sooner. That'll do. Okay. Right. Hopefully the Twitch comments will start popping up soon, but we'll see. Okay, anyway. Sibane, you were trying to use only native species in the UK, right? Yes. Yeah, that's the plan. And, you know, we were kind of chatting about it last time, and I've talked to a few people about it, about potentially doing, you know, extinct species or species of like invasive animals, or even like more ancient species, but it's kind of a bit up in the air at the moment. But the main thing I'm going to focus on at the moment is just making sure that it's definitely native species in there. So like right now we've got a sheep and a rook, big bird, and I think that will keep it quite consistent. Oh nice, we can see Twitch chat now. You're right, I've just noticed, it's so cool. Thanks. Yeah, it was fun to make as well. It took a little bit of like fixing. I'll show you the picture. I'll show you the way it looks. What was it? I think it's in here. Yeah. So these are the images. Oops, don't want to delete that. So you can kind of see. That's the eyes closed, mouth open. Eyes closed, mouth closed. Eyes open, mouth open, and mouth closed, eyes open. And then I've animated it as a GIF. And then you kind of export it to this program, which I'll give a shout out to because it's pretty cool. If you guys want to use it, it's called Viedo Tube Mini, which apparently means deer in Portuguese. But which and the mascot is a deer, so I did that. Someone also told me it's a slang word for gay, but you know, I think it's the deer thing, which is what they were going for. But yeah, it was fun to make, especially as a little GIF, because I need to practice animating a little bit more. I'm going to work on this a little bit, and I'll have a look through some of the pictures that I've done this week. But what about Sibane on Twitch says, what about rabbits? I've done a few rabbits actually. We were working on a rabbit last time, if you remember. And the rabbit Fae dude, this one here. I like rabbits, but I prefer hares. So I do a lot more hares, because hares are essentially just bigger, cooler rabbits. And they have more like prominent eyes. And hares are rarer in the UK. I don't know if you're from the UK, but rabbits are much more common. So yeah, I've been doing that. Aren't they invasive? Yes, they are. but I think from like a long time ago. I can't remember if it was like a Roman import or if it was a Norman import. But I think they brought them in because they were easy to hunt. 1066. Okay, so Norman then. So I mean they've been around for a long time, and it's things like the mink as well, which is a type of weaselly creature. I think something like that is okay, in my opinion. So yeah, I'm not putting like a definite on what is and is not okay, but I still got to work it out, I think. It's called Summer Break. I love it. Yeah, that's the best thing. You know, I don't know if you're a student or if you're a teacher, but I think for either of those situations, just having that long break is just the best. I considered, you know, getting a school teaching job or trying to get a university teaching job for that exact reason. But for now, yeah, I think that's a good way to spend your summers. When I used to be at school, I think I used to spend my summers just gaming, which is not a waste of time, but I could have been doing something probably perhaps a bit more productive. Ladies and gents, I'm proud to announce I started actually working on my world. Nice. Okay, you're part of the part of the crew now. Yeah. I say it's like a good feeling when you've got it on the go and you're starting to get momentum and you're inspired. So I'd say just take advantage of that whilst you've kind of got it on lock. I feel like you know, a lot of people, especially at that start, you get like that honeymoon period where you've just got loads of energy and you're just like super keen for working on your project and stuff. So I think it's definitely worth taking advantage of that and you know, trying to just push that motivation as far as it will go. I did that. Well, actually, when I started this project, I didn't do it very well. I got off to a slow start, but I think now, I mean, I've got like a really steady rhythm, and I feel like I'm super motivated to just every week to just crack on with it. The man in the red cape. I gotten some more ideas for magic related monsters, but I couldn't figure out to draw them yet. Do you know, concept art is a good way to just, even if you don't show it, concept art I feel like is a good thing to do for yourself, just to see if it works. I haven't done a lot of concept art. Normally I'll just draw something that I want to draw, and therefore I'll have like a good idea of it. But if I'm really not sure about something, or I want to kind of explore an idea, I found concept art is quite good. I'm not the best at it, but I feel like a lot of concept art is just doing a bunch of sketches on a page and then picking your favorite and then drawing more of that. Oh, I'm getting adverts. So yeah. Oh, cool. I'm looking forward to it. I would say if you get any more any drawings or anything like that, and maybe post them in chat, I think that would be a good way to get some feedback from people and get some inspiration and stuff. Trondix, the day the gods abandoned us is the temporal title. They might change that. Nice. Okay, that sounds cool. Basically, you have 6 mortal species: human, elves, dwarves, goblins, gnomes, and dragonborn, which were all created by different god tribes fighting through their creation. Nice. Yeah, that sounds cool. Are you gonna do a lot of illustrations and stuff with it, Trondix? Are you gonna is it gonna be like writing, or how are you gonna do it? There's a few people in the Discord who are doing it in kind of different ways. I'd say a lot of people are doing like writing stuff, but we got a few, you know, artists who are doing like drawing and stuff in there, and it's cool because the writing in there is really, really nice. I was saying just as the stream started that it's my kind of weak point, so I'm glad like we've got lots of writers in there, but the art as well is really cool. Lots of different styles and types, which I'm liking. I don't read much fantasy, despite me being on the stream. A recommendation for a first read? For a fantasy book? Oh, that's a difficult one. I read a lot of sci-fi. For a fantasy book, I'll have a think. There's a lot of good ones out there. A lot of people say Brandon Sanderson is a good one, but he's pretty intense because his is like, you know, 3,000-page mega novels that have these super intricate magic systems, so it can be a bit intense. I don't know if he's a good first offering. I'm into lit RPGs at the moment, like especially on Audible. So I've been doing a lot of Dungeon Crawler Carl, which is, if you like silly books, is an awesome read. Well, I wouldn't even say an awesome read. I would say you have to listen to it the audiobook because it's performed by a bunch of theatre actors, and it's just the best. It's so good. It's very silly, very violent, very disgusting, very like toilet humor type thing. But definitely worth a read if you like that kind of thing, for sure. Yeah, I've tried doing concept art like you. I'm not the best at it either. I'd say crack on with it. Yeah, do you know, I think especially for art, it's so important to just do it. I think just to force yourself to do it. Actually, no, I've seen it. Sorry, man in the red cape. I wasn't looking at the comments. Your art's really good. I've seen it. That cosmic horror one that you did was really nice. I really like that, with like the kind of black hole in the belly and all the lights around it. I like that. I love sci-fi cosmic horror. We've talked about Cthulhu a few times on these streams, but I feel like sci-fi cosmic horror is like almost on a different scale. It's like the recent Love, Death and Robots, not this season, but the one before, and they did like kind of like a military. I guess it wasn't sci-fi, but still like a more modern cosmic horror. So that was really cool. Yeah, I would say just post more of your stuff, man. It's like a really nice style. And again, you know, you can post your work in progress stuff in the chat. I do it as well, and you can kind of get a vibe for it. And I find often when I just post stuff, you know how you feel about it as soon as it's posted, and then you can kind of either work on it or not. But yeah, man, you've got a good style. Hyperion. Hyperion, I've not heard of that. I am horrible at art, so I got an illustrator to help. Concept art is hard. Just go for it right from the start. Yeah, you know, that's great advice. I agree. I think with art, you just need to start. You just need to, like, it sounds very silly, but as soon as you start, it probably won't be good for a little while. And even if it's not good, it's okay, because especially for world building, you know, you're kind of just developing ideas, and sometimes writing doesn't really do it enough. I feel like putting something in like an illustrated form can be a good way to do it. And you can try different styles like photo bashing, or you know, even just like sketching in a notebook or something. When I first started, I did a lot of my stuff on like post-it notes, or in my little sketchbook. And then eventually I managed to get a drawing tablet. But yeah, some of my earlier stuff was not good at all. But yeah, it just took a little while to kind of get into it. I'm kind of just doodling here. Sorry, I haven't really got a real plan for this. The idea was to do some cultists, but I didn't want to just keep doing bird cultists. So these are dog cultists, and they just basically a massive pack of fey dogs, who are like bandits, and they kind of raid people's stuff. I was thinking about doing them a bit like orcs from the 40k universe, so they're a bit silly because they're kind of just doing it for fun. But they do worship a dog god. But again, this is a very early idea. This is something I've been thinking about today, so it's not really developed much. But yeah, dog army, would be a cool one. I've done one piece of art, a soldier, for my sci-fi novel. Right on. Oh, you're writing a sci-fi novel. Nice. I would say, you know, I'm going to be talking about my my Discord probably a few times in this, but I would say, yeah, man, if you want to post your oh no, you're already in the Discord. Yeah, I don't know if I've seen your stuff, Sidon, in the Discord yet. I'm just checking through it. I can't remember. Yeah, get in there, man. I'd love to see it for sure. It's good to have some stuff in. Again, just I feel like it's good for your kind of confidence to just be posting it, sending it out there in the world, and you know, not worrying too much about it. and then it can also give you good motivation. Things like, you know, Inktober. I think like a few people have talked about this in the stream. Is like Inktober is such a great way to get yourself started with drawing, because it forces you to draw stuff that you haven't drawn before, and it just means that you can kind of put yourself into that position where you're forced to practice and learn. So yeah, I would say maybe start with something like that. Obviously, October's coming up soon, so it would be a good place to start. I might do Inktober this year as well for the acceleration. In fact, that could be a cool one. It might. Oh, that's not a bad idea. We could do an acceleration Inktober. I could try and make up a list for the whole month and see if anyone wants to join in. Have it like a Discord thing. Because I don't know, it's been cool seeing other people's fan art. There's been a couple of really nice pieces. Let me have a look. Yeah, I would say we've had Trillstav did a pigeon fae, which I really like. One of my brothers has been trying to get me to do a pigeon dragon for a while. The King of Ku is what he's been calling him. But I haven't got around to drawing it. But yeah, I definitely want to consider that. And then one of the other guys, Morpheus, did a possum fae. Like I said, I'm not doing stuff from outside of the UK, but I love the idea of other people doing it as well. Like one of the guys, I think it is Morpheus, has been talking about Australia a lot and like the animals in Australia. And I don't know, again, anything like that as like a fae would be like a cool concept to try out. I need to cut the background off the foreground. Let me just do that right now. Separate these two. And work on that after. Where were we? Sorry, I've lost the chat now. What if what if there was another type of mutation where said animal became smaller? So, good question. So, one of the ideas with weird folk, which are essentially fae that haven't mutated correctly, or not even fae. You know, it's like, well, actually, yeah, this is generally fae. It's fae that are mutated from weird animals, scary-looking animals, so like an octopus fae or like a dragonfly fae. That, you know, where a realistic 6-foot bipedal dragonfly that can speak to you would obviously be very terrifying. So that's what we call weird folk. But weird folk are not only those guys; they're also half mutated fae. So it's ones that where perhaps half their body mutated, or they've started to mutate and just kind of stopped, or essentially. Like a mouse, for example, that is a little bit bigger, but like by, you know, a couple of inches, and is still as intelligent as a fae. So I would say things like that. So there's going to be some fae which are really small, and they're going to be a feature for the weird folk. So hopefully they'll come up soon. But yeah, so there are going to be some little, almost like Red Wall style characters where they're like the actual size of the animal. I think in future iterations. The Man in Red Cape. Yeah, I wanted to base my world in cosmic horror, and so like cosmic horror, apocalypse, and other stuff, and due to the cosmic horror gods. I love cosmic horror stuff because it's like where it's like you can't fight against it. I think that's it's just inevitable, and it's kind of like, I think it works well for like role playing games because it's like, okay, your players just kind of have to deal with this, and they have to almost like avoid it because they can't just blow it up, like especially for like murder hobo squads where they fight everything, and they're kind of stuck in a situation where they have to kind of think about it a little bit. It'd be cute to have small talking bugs that live in the walls. Yeah, I agree. Like a little nation of bugs, a little village where it's like intelligent bugs, but they're all bug-sized. I might do that. That could be a fun one. I was thinking of like some little stuff to do on holidays where I can just like make it a bit sillier. And the plan is to do a special dragon at Christmas. I won't spoil it too much, but it's essentially a chicken dragon. And that's why I haven't drawn any chickens. Well, I've drawn one chicken dragon so far. And he is the dragon of freedom. And at Christmas time, every year, lots of people lose their cows and their like cattle and their geese and everything. They just disappear into the forest. And the dragon of freedom essentially goes out and releases a bunch of animals and brings them to his land in the forest, where they're safe and they can live happily the rest of their lives. So at Christmas time, lots of people try to lock up their animals and keep them safe. But then they wake up in the morning and there's a bunch of chicken feathers like around the barn where the chickens have slipped in and released their animal. So silly idea, but yeah, I want to do little things like that just from time to time to keep a like kind of light mood on it. It's funny how a lot of people here like sci-fi for this fantasy TTRPG with only some sci-fi elements. Yeah, I agree. I love stuff like that where it's like, yeah, exactly like you said. It's like it's sci-fi with it's fantasy with a sci-fi element to it. I think it fits so well together because it's almost like, you know, a super powerful force. It's kind of just like magic, right? It's like having magic in the world, just something that's just beyond what is possible. And especially from the perspective of people in the world, it would just seem like magic as well. Let's fade these dudes out a little bit. They look kind of cool. Might just duplicate that and just fade their feet a little bit more. Okay. Let me just blur it a little bit. I'm not doing that. Sorry, yeah. And so I need to try to. I think that looks quite good. Birds. We love birds. Bird trolls. Yeah. Birds are the best. Like this big rook. They're so emotive and they're so intelligent. And I feel like birds, you know, in the real world have like proper characters and everything. So more birds, more better. I was doing a little searching. Apparently beavers went extinct in the early 16th century. Yes, I completely agree. Yeah. You know, well, not agree. Sorry. I saw beavers did go extinct. The thing with beavers is I kind of associate them a lot with North America. You know, it's kind of like raccoons or skunks and things like that. It's just, I don't know. I don't really associate it with the UK. And it's not that I don't want to do them, but I feel like if I did them, it would kind of confuse it. There's a great guy. I can't remember his name. He does a book called Guelph. Gwelf. I'll write it down here. And Guelph. It's like it's very similar. You can see when you look at it, you'll see the influence on my images that I've taken from him. I think it's Larry McDougall, is it? Yeah, Larry McDougall, or Dougal. I'm not sure how you pronounce it. His illustrations are awesome. But he does like badgers, raccoons, hares, foxes, and I think it's a lot of like North American animals. But it's incredible. And so when I see a lot of his stuff, it kind of makes sense. It's like raccoons and things like that. But I think he does beavers in his as well. Can you find it? Should Mole Town, bunch of little mole men. Yeah, underground thing. That's another idea I've had for a dragon. Is like a bunch of people who live in a mine, and they worship a god that is supposedly underground. And I was trying to think of what could be underground, like maybe burrowing insects or things like that. But a mole would make a good one, like a giant horrifying mole. But moles are quite cute, so I'm not sure how I'd make that horrifying. Oh, gotta get rid of that Guelph. Oops. A dragonfly dragon would be cool. Yeah, do you know, I haven't really considered insect dragons much. I haven't really thought about it, but I agree. Well, actually, I've thought about a bee dragon and an ant dragon. And there was like a little short story I was going to do about an ant colony full of giant ants, ant trolls, and they're all led by an ant dragon. But again, it's one I need to get around to. That dragon sounds nice. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So the chicken dragon. Yeah. So essentially, he it would be like a light-hearted, warming, heartwarming story, and just for Christmas time. And it's like, all these animals that would be took to slaughter are freed the night before they're supposed to be slaughtered. So they're brought to the forest and that kind of thing. I'm not a vegetarian. I do eat meat, but I like cows and I like pigs, especially. So I just thought it'd be a nice story. And it'd just be a funny one to have little robed chickens that are the size of chickens, but they're intelligent. And they just run around freeing animals from the farm. Chance of winning? None. Absolutely. Yeah, I think certain dragons you'd just be... you would not survive for very long, for sure. I think it would just be a very dangerous place to be. Man in the Red Cape, do you know how to use color theory? No, not at all. Speaking of fundamentals, I think we were talking about it before in the chat, that fundamentals, it's one of the main things I need to get into. With these guys, with their color, what I've done is essentially just picked a color like this, and then I go on the wheel and just kind of rotate it. And I know a little bit of color theory. So it's like, for example, the tri-colors, where it's like, okay, if I pick orange, the colors that would match would be blue and like green, yellow. And then also within the same kind of range. So if you do orange, you can also do yellow and red. So I know a couple of ideas with it, but I'm not. I do need to practice it a little bit more. I think I need to get on it for sure. We've got to look into this more. Look into this now. Yeah, cool. Yeah, so if you're talking about Guelph, I highly recommend it. It's very, very cool, and I would say just Larry McDougall is a beast, for sure. All right, I'm going to show you guys what I've been doing this week. I've been, as we say in the UK, skiving from doing the video, which essentially means just not doing the video. But I have been working on stuff. I have been drawing. So if you remember last Wednesday, we were doing the Rangers, and you guys picked the Puffin. So I did a bit more stuff from the Puffin. I posted this in the Discord earlier. And essentially, I put him into the scene. And I was looking through some of my books for inspiration. And I found a really nice goblin image from like a big Warhammer Fantasy tome that I had. And it had a cool like swampy trees in the background. So I kind of took inspiration from them and found a few references and did some kind of swampy trees. And then put the Puff in there. Because I thought he looked pretty cool. And then I've just kind of painted at the top of him. One thing I like to do when it's images like this is I'll do the picture first, the character, because I'm generally a bit better at characters. I'm not the best at backgrounds or like landscapes. And then I'll paint like a white image behind it, and that helps me to kind of do my values because a lot of my images are like smudgy. I'll show you here. With something like this, if I was to just turn off the white, you see it goes like completely transparent. And if I was to put, for example, this color here, okay, now he's brown. So that's a bit of a problem. So with images like that, I have to kind of draw a background in, which I guess a lot of other probably artists do, and then they paint on top of it. So they kind of do it. I do it in reverse to them, I guess. But then it means that you can do values a little bit better. So we've got kind of the light coming from the right side. But yeah, so a little swampy dude, which I was quite happy with. I worked a bit more on the Queen of the Fae. I think I started this actually after the last stream. Queen of the Fae, which I kind of hinted at in some of the videos, It's called Boudica, obviously based off of the old warrior queen from Icenia in, I don't know, Roman era Britain. And so she's a very, very big dragon human. And of course she has ginger hair, because that's what they all have. And so this is like an assemblance of people during the summer solstice, kind of worshipping Boudica under a giant oak tree. Just a kind of small idea. So I worked on that a little bit more. Again, trying to do some more of these like bigger landscapes. I did this guy, I think, since the last one. So this is a Fey Ranger, out on patrol in the Caledonian Highlands. He's a grey squirrel. He's got his gun with him, and his maglock rifle. And he's just chilling. One thing I'm going to do with the Fey video, with the Ranger video, is kind of show how, for a lot of the Rangers, they stay away from the cities, and they're kind of pariahs and outcasts, and they just live on the outskirts, or they live like as hermits in the forest. And so they just prefer to be away from people. And so, for example, with this dude, he's just quite happily chilling. It's a bit cold, so he's got his, big kilt wrapped around him. But he's just happy chilling on the side of a mountain, looking out for any dangers. So yeah, that's another one there. What else did I work on? Yeah, so I did this cat. Another Fey Ranger. So again, he lives in the forest. He's just quite happy sitting by himself, smoking his pipe on his chair that he made himself. So a lot of the Rangers, like I said, they kind of work with towns or cities as almost like early warning systems. And the way they do it is either with flares or gunshots, other things like that. So they're not like the troll hunters where they're sent out to kill or hunt trolls. They essentially just work as deterrents for trolls. So if a troll if a troll comes within a certain distance of a city, they will either chase them off, or they'll just warn the city that they're coming. So that's kind of their job. They're not there to hunt things. One of the guys in Discord said he looked like he was given quests, so I did a little exclamation mark. Very World of Warcraft. Anyone in chat want to work the show? Yeah. Feel free to share some of your guys' projects as well. I'm always happy to see other people's stuff. I think it's inspiring, and it's a good way to bounce ideas off each other. Throndix, I think I've already said this, but the acceleration only apply to animals. Like, could you have giant trees or something? Yeah, so it did affect plants as well, and other organisms. So you have things like Fey starfish or Fey sea cucumbers, but just rarely. With trees and plants, it's quite common where they become giant. I'm still doing some concepts on potential tree trolls. But yeah, I don't want to go. I don't want it to go in that direction too much. I feel like it's got quite an identity now, and adding something like rock monsters or tree monsters would be a bit confusing. So, giant trees, yes, like the one that Boudica is sitting under there is a good example of that. I have to finally get around the races for my world. Yeah, I remember you talking about the races in your thread for Monster Garden. I think you had some cool stuff going there. And I think having like some established races really helps, make the world a bit easier to understand for sure. So one more thing I worked on as well was this little sad series. This is a bit of a spoiler, but this is going to be the end of the Ranger video. So it's going to be this, obviously this boar troll who's gotten hurt or has been shot by the ranger, or someone else, and he's a bit lost in the forest, and he kind of spends his last moments with the ranger before going to sleep. I thought it was a nice moment. And a big aspect of the rangers is that they kind of live with nature, despite nature being so dangerous. They've just kind of accepted it. So they are almost at like peace with the trolls and with maybe not the dragons, but with the giant animals and the normal animals in the forest. So they live amongst them. They know their routines. They know trolls perhaps even better than the troll hunters. And so they can kind of get by without setting the trolls off too much. So those were most of the images I've worked on since last time, but these are going to be a lot of the things that will show up in the next video, I hope. One thing I've done a lot as well since oh, hi Strawberry Molly, welcome to the chat. What are your ideas? It would finally allow me to finish up the bases of my world. I'd have to look again. I can't remember everything I had set up. Yeah, I think it's good to have like a big Excel spreadsheet, and then you can kind of keep track of everything you've said. And I think if you do like videos or images or something in the future, it's good to have that kind of established lore that you've kind of mentioned to keep it consistent as well. Man in Red Cape, they have some magical green thumbs. Yeah. So I didn't want rangers to just be like edgy troll hunters who live by themselves. I wanted them to be a bit more like druids, but it's not a massive separation, but with them being able to deal with the trolls and live amongst them and not be set off by them. I thought that was a cool concept. So in the TTRPG, players would be a bit hippy-dippy, or perhaps just like hermits, where they're not really interested in socializing too much. They kind of want to get back in the forest. And a big aspect of it is stress. And although everyone else would be quite stressed to be in the forest hunting trolls, they'll be stressed when they go into the cities. That would be like a stressful environment for them. And they prefer to be independent, and they'll have dogs as well, which is very important. Yeah. Laser Crow, hello, my badger friend. What did I miss? Welcome. Not much. Yeah, we've been on a little bit. Just been chatting about what's been up so far. Just working on this image a little bit. But yeah, thanks for joining, Laser Crow. Do you ever stuff like biologists? Yeah. So yeah, exactly. Like biologists, kind of like real rangers, I guess, because like modern rangers now are, obviously they care about nature, but they're obviously very physical. They do physical labor where they go out and they're clearing felled trees and making sure nesting birds are safe and things like that. So that's what the rangers would be here, but also making sure that the trolls aren't just walking into a city somewhere. Yeah, very important job. Okay, well, I'm going to keep working on this, but one of the ideas I had was another type of ranger who works as almost like a scout, so like a forward position for forces, like, for example, the Frogs of War, or for one of the great cities, one of the city guards. So I want to do like almost like a military ranger. So one that is actually a bit more interested in scouting ahead to secure an area as opposed to living in the forest. So I'm going to do it as a fae. But does anyone have any ideas about what they want, what they think the best kind of fae could be? I'll start a poll. Can I do that? So if everyone gives me some ideas for different fae, I'll start a poll and then we can kind of vote on it. And Sibernet, and if anyone else is on Twitch, I'm going to do the poll on YouTube, but I'll let you know the options. And if you tell me, I'll include your answers as well. I will find a way to do multi-chat at some point, but I'll include that. Okay, bats. Bats is a cool idea. I'll add that to the poll. What Fae should I draw? So we got bats. What type of dogs do they have? Do they have massive dogs? Yeah, definitely. So there's certain types of like old school great green bush cricket. Great green bush cricket. That's a cool idea. Yes, so there's loads of different like British dogs, like the Irish Wolfhound or Yorkshire Terrier, things like that. So but a lot of dogs who are giants kept kind of employment or I guess they kept their roles in society, but obviously it's just as big dogs. I did a picture of one a while ago, actually. I'll see if I can find it. So yes, imagine just a big doggo who still works for you. I think it's in here. Oh, here he is. This is kind of a big Irish Wolfhound. So this is a fully grown man, maybe let's say like 5'11", 6 foot, and this is a dog standing next to him. So that's what they would kind of do as well. What type of dog there are? Are there any wildcats in the UK? Yes, Scottish wildcats, because wildcat fae or even lynxes, but I'm pretty sure those are only central. We do have what was I saying? We do have a wildcat in Scotland, and they're very cute. In fact, this cat here is a wildcat. The ranger I was drawing earlier. This dude here, he's a wildcat. Bit angry face, but I think they're cool as well. Okay, right. Let's see what animals we've got. So we've got a jumping spider. So we've got a bat. We've got a great green bush cricket. We've got jumping spider. We've got a viparous lizard. We've got an... Oh, it's only let me do 4 options. Okay, so we've got bats, cricket, jumping spider, and lizard. It's in the Encyclopedia of Animals. I'm drawing cricket people right now. Oh, cool. They are considered good luck, and they get rid of pets if you arm them. Yeah, nice. Okay, cool. So those are going to be our 4 options. Sorry, guys. So we won't be able to do the... maybe we'll do the owl for the next poll. But we've got bat, cricket, jumping spider, viviparous lizard. So those are our 4 options, because it won't let me do any more options. So I'm going to pop that in the chat. And I'll put one down for cricket for you, Sibinet Pests. And if anyone else is watching from Twitch, I would say let me know what you want. The options are bats, crickets, lizard, or jumping spider. Jumping spiders are very cute. I get a lot of them in my garden, and I try to help them catch flies because I'm a big fan. Sand lizards are cool, but super rare. Yeah, and snakes. We've got a bunch of snakes, and we've got a bunch of lizards a few lizards in the UK. Can rangers ride the massive dogs like horses? Someone asked a while ago, and it is a consideration I've had of giant animals. But again, similar to like rock monsters or tree monsters, I think the acceleration's got a bit of a vibe now. I've set a bit of a tone, and I think giant animals like mounts might kind of take away from the tone a little bit. I'm not going to say no to it. I might do some concepts and see what it looks like. But for the time being, it's just going to be horses. Maybe giant horses, but we'll see. What have we got here? This could be cool. Not so many reptiles. Sand lizards are cool, but super rare. Yeah. Cybernet. Trapdoor spiders would be scary. I don't think we have trapdoor spiders in the UK. We've got a lot of different types of spiders. Wolf spiders, jumping spiders, daddy long legs. I don't know if they're a type of spider or not, but yeah, lots of different ones. But I'm pretty sure we don't have any trapdoor spiders. Right, how's the poll going? Okay, bats are winning the poll currently. We've got 6 votes. I'll give it 1 more minute. I don't think there's that many people in the chat, so I think everyone's pretty much voted. I think 1 more person needs to vote. And then it'll pass through. Cybernet, mate, sorry. It looks like it's not going to be crickets. There's no votes for crickets yet. But jumping spider. So it goes bats in first place. Jumping spider second. Lizard third. Crickets fourth. Crickets shall jump ahead. I like the pun. We'll see. I'll give it another minute. And we'll see if crickets can come up on top. It looks like it might be bats. I think bats are cool. I did a bat troll a while ago for the troll video. And I haven't really done them much since. They're a bit like creepy. Like in their face. Just the nose and everything. The way their ears and their nose are like really almost like shaped. But yeah, I think it'd be a cool idea for a fae, like a scout fae as well, because they could kind of, I guess, use their echolocation, or they could be able to fly ahead as well. Crickets would be good to see for a little town. I agree. Yeah, I think it'd be like a cool one, cause especially with the big, what are they called? Is it refractive eyes, or I can't remember what they're called. The big like bug eyes. I think they're like a very recognizable animal when you see their face. Vote for jumping spiders and you will increase my joy exponentially. I'm sorry, mate. It looks like it might not be the way. Okay, I think we have to end it there. It looks like bats are the winners. What about an elephant fae? Like they're just visiting. Do you know, I did consider like a circus at one point as like a short story, and it would show fae from around the world. I might still do that. But I want the world to be a bit more established before I start introducing other stuff. But do you know, like an animal from Japan, an animal from Africa, an animal from the Ottoman Empire, an animal from do you know, the conquest in Central America, that kind of thing. Like as a few ideas, but I might come back to that. Okay. Great voting, everybody. Looks like it's going to be bats. So bats are the winner. So we're going to do a bat image then. Bats flew off with the crickets. Rightful win. Yes. Sorry, crickets. You were eaten by the bats. Would insect fae keep all their eyes? Good question. Yes. So a lot of the fae just kind of grow this bipedal shape and opposable thumbs. That's the lore behind fae, essentially, is that they grow into these kind of shapes that are typical of humans, like very humanoid shape. But I think it could be a cool idea to explore it a little bit more, because of course they have the 8 legs as well as all the eyes. So I would need to like do some more concepts just to see how it would look. But yeah, I think spiders would have all of their eyes still. So yeah, I'm just drawing a bird fae. I done a sketch for the basic idea for this earlier, just in my sketchbook. And it's going to be a little scout planting a bomb, a grenade, beneath the carriage. Like he's, you know, a saboteur who's in there at nighttime, kind of wreaking havoc on perhaps like a bandit camp or like an enemy formation. I do have some pictures of bats, so I'll get the reference in a sec, but I'm just going to do the basic sketch first. A cricket troll would be cool. I agree. With the big legs and everything, and like how it does like the cricket sound, like the typical cricket sound. It'd be cool to have that as like a rumbling sound. I find any bug scary. Yeah, bugs are cool. Jumping spiders, especially, I think are pretty cute. They're very like Pixar style animals. But yeah, I know what you mean. Especially like close up, they do have quite freaky faces. So you'll see my kind of process sketch. This is how I often draw. Is I get a good idea of it, and then I'll bring the references in after, if I can. But it's good to get like a preliminary idea of what I'm going to draw. So essentially, he's planting the grenade, so he's dug himself a bit of a hole. Don't want a big hole like that, a smaller hole. And he's going to put it below a wheel. So I'll draw the wheel after. The wheel's going to be like here. And then it'll have the spoke here. So he's like just hiding behind it. But we'll do that after. Spiders would make great scouts, like any army or a swarm, to just screw everyone else's fields. Yeah, so because like not all animals evolved, I think the only ones that really stuck together totally were the Great Herd. So those are like the deer fae, and this ant fae that's going to come up eventually. I'm still torn between an ant fae queen, an ant dragon queen, or a bee dragon queen. But those are the only like big factions that are all basically like mono species. Like even the Fae of Caledonia are a mix of humans and Fae, mostly Fae. But so yeah, I think you're right. Like if there was one group of animals that were intelligent and they'd stayed together, I think they would be able to take over pretty quickly. Luckily, they didn't. British katydids. British katydids. What's that? Let me Google that. Oh, cool. Bush cricket. So British katydids are apparently massive crickets. That's pretty cool. Oh my gosh, they're huge. Okay, right. Let's get a little dude on the go. I'll get my references out. I think I do have a bat reference somewhere. Let me bring one up. I'll see how far I can get through this during this stream. Got a bunch of animals here. Do I have a bat? You can see I've tried like a bunch of animals out in the past, but not all of them have been used. Maybe I don't have a bat. So you see, I've done some spiders here as well in my references. Anyone see? Ah, there he is. That's a cute bat. I think that one's perfect. There you go. I think they're called, it's like horseshoe bats or something, or like mouse bats. Very cute little dude. Okay, perfect. So he's going to be our reference for this one. Do you know, this is the main thing I want to do eventually. Is just have this like massive catalog of just loads and loads of different animals who I've designed as Fae. Because I think that's one thing that Larry McDougall does. The book I was mentioning earlier, called Guelph. He does like loads of different types of animals and loads of different birds as well. I've been meaning to buy his book for a while. That's a bit long there. And I love that. I think it just looks really cool. So I think I'll try and do the same with mine. Oh, sorry, I missed a few questions here. What if the bee dragon lived in a giant tree and the ant dragon beneath it, constantly fighting with each other? That's a cool idea. Yeah, so it's like two swarms and they kind of occupy each other, which is why they haven't taken over the world. That's a cool idea. But one of the original ideas I had for like the swarm was that they were kind of it is like a typical storyline, but they're like harassing a local town. And then it turns out when the mercenaries get there, they all get killed off by the swarm. And when they get there, one of them is brought to the queen, and she says, well, no, it's the village. They've been coming in and they've been stealing our ant eggs, or they've been, eating our honey. And killing off our offspring, and so we're just defending ourselves. But now that you've attacked us in our home, well, now we're gonna mess you up, and that would be the end. It's like kind of okay, they didn't do anything, but now they are going to do anything, and you're going to see what happens when you mess with a giant hive of intelligent ants. Do fae, dragons, trolls still reproduce as fast? Good question. If I'm honest, I've been kind of avoiding the whole reproduction element of it. With a lot of the evolution stuff, I feel like it kind of just up to people's imagination. I don't want to get into it too much. Just I'm not a squeamish guy, but I think giants maybe would just be the same as normal animals, whereas fae, we'll just say it's unknown. It's not in the lore, and humans don't know much about it. And perhaps the fae kind of keep it to themselves. One thing I was considering is like the homesteads of fae, so how they would like live at home with their families and things like that. So okay, fae who live in cities, perhaps rabbit fae and things like that would be more comfortable in basements, so they'd live below houses. Whereas bird fae would live on the top floors, maybe even into to the exposed air, and they'd have these like nests full of stuff where it's not like typical bird twigs, but like stuff that they find around town, especially like magpie fae or raven fae who want to just collect stuff for the house. I'm gonna do his head a bit smaller; it's a bit too big. But yeah, that's my way of avoiding that question. It's not something that I think is a bad question, but I think it's something especially with reproduction and stuff like that. I haven't really considered at any point, if I'm honest. I might come back to it at some point. Did animals stop accelerating by the time the story started, like our new ones becoming intelligent? Good question. So the fae are all quite old, and their average lifespan is a lot longer than that of their ancestral species, I guess is the best way to describe them. So they will a lot of them are a lot older, so a lot of them did mutate as animals and became fae. And again, I might do it as kind of a private thing that perhaps is a bit impolite to ask, because a lot of the fae don't know. They wake up sentient one day and just in the forest, and they have their own mind, and they're just this animal that's alone in the forest, or wherever their native species comes from, and they don't remember their life from before. And I think that's a good way to kind of separate the fact that I think if you were a little snail and then you gain sentience, you'd probably go insane, I guess, if you remembered everything that just happened to you as a snail. So again, a good way to avoid a question I haven't really thought much about. I think both of those questions are important though, because I do need to figure it out at some point. And whether it's a TTRPG or if it's just a lore book that I'm going to write eventually, I think I'll have to bring those up at some point. So I'm going to explore both of those. Sibernet, you're off. Thanks for joining us, mate. Appreciate you being in the chat, representing Twitch. Have a good night or day, whichever. If you do go with a dragon bee, would the area they reside be surrounded by gigantic flowers? Great idea. I was just listening to a Mouse Ritter gameplay by Yogscast, and they did so Mouse Ritter is essentially normal-sized mice going on adventures in a human world. So they essentially go and have to get some honey from a beehive, and that's really cool because it's kind of that interaction between these big bees that are dog-sized and mice, and they have to go out into this massive field of sunflowers. And I really like that idea. I thought that was cool. So yes, I feel like there would be these big wildflower meadows that were quite large, and not all of the plants there would be, but maybe a forest of wildflowers, and the bees kind of reside there because that's the best place to get a bunch of honey. So yeah, I think that's a cool idea, giant flowers. Again, I'll have to sketch up and see if it works. This guy's looking cool. He's not as cute as the picture, but I think he's looking pretty cool. So Christopher Marley, cool exhibition. I'll have to check that out. Sibernet's gone. Whoops. Thank you for the recommendation. If you are still here, Sibernet, I will check that out. Here is the basic of the primary faction for my novel. USP is a nation officially known as the United Sindon parties. These affirmative parties include the Dividend Party, which is in charge of finance, the Party who is in charge of defense, and then finally the Imperator's Party, who is in charge of the military. The military is organized into 3 groups. The Primus, as you know, is... Wow, that sounds very complicated. The military is organized into 3 different groups. All people of the nation are called Homo Magnus and are different from the human race. The world is said 165 times. Talk more than any other came. So what does Sidon represent then? Oh, the father Sidon is in charge of the nation. I see. So he's like the overlord of the nation. That's cool. Oh, you've put a lot of thought into this. I've not really done the politics of my world. There are a few factions in it, but I do need to plan that a little bit more. So Molly, that's really cool. Thank you. Yeah. So, one thing I have been working on this week, just whilst I'm drawing this, is the TTRPG. And I had a pretty free weekend, so I ended up doing a bunch of the rules for the game. And I got loads and loads done. So there's a lot on there. So I'm eventually going to bring something out, I think maybe in my Discord or just in the Patreon, and try to get some feedback on it. Because I would like to do some playtesting eventually. But for now, I want to keep working on that. But also, I need to make sure I'm keeping up with the drawing. Because obviously that's one of the biggest parts and the most visual parts of the acceleration. So hopefully I'll be able to do both at the same time. Does anyone else play RPG games? Any like D&D or Pathfinder or I don't know, Warhammer Fantasy? Like I said, I think I will eventually look for playtesters. I'll probably look in my own Discord at the moment, if there are people there. I'm going to play it with some friends. Is his thumb backwards? I'm just holding my hands up to see. His thumb's backwards, right? Maybe over here. That looks better. So if anyone is interested in maybe playtesting, I think I will. I'm definitely going to do some like free samples and give out the TTRPG early, just in like text format without any of the art, and just to get a good idea about what people think. Because I've never really made a TTRPG before. I've done a lot of stuff with Warhammer Fantasy and well, some of the systems that I've DM'd and edited them to be like essentially just put a spin on them. So it would be my first time really making an RPG. So I would definitely need some feedback on it, I think. I need to look at how an old 17th century grenade looks. 17th century grenade. Okay. Oh, not bad. I'd say it looks pretty similar to that. It's just a giant metal ball with a hole at the top. Okay, I'll do the hole. Now I'll look a bit more bomby. Nice. So, low for the faction, but that would take more time to add to the chat. Yeah, so I would say, feel free to. There's a bunch of people doing, obviously like project stuff in the Discord. If anyone's not in the Discord yet, feel free to join. I'll post an invite. It's a good place where I guess a lot of people are kind of sharing their projects, and if anyone's interested, feel free to jump in. So if you want to share your stuff on there, that'll probably be a better place to do it. Especially if you've got a lot of stuff prepared. I think you have your own tab, and it'll be a good place to kind of share it with everybody. Do you keep it all organized in a doc, or do you keep it in multiple places? I cannot keep all my stuff in the same place to save my life. Oh, I am the exact same, Molly. I think it is a real problem for me. I have an Excel spreadsheet which I use to keep track of small pieces of information. So that's things like character names, places, things like that. I've got a Google Doc which is like general ideas. So more stuff like I'll do this as like kind of like a pin, so in case someone stands on it. Trapdoor type thing. So the doc keeps a lot of the other information. And then I have for the TTRPG, it is a doc. It's like a Google Doc, and everything's in there, and it's all in one big document. I need to back everything up, if I'm honest, because I'm very bad at doing these kind of things and then it corrupting or me losing it. It's pretty safe in Google Docs, I think, but just in case. But yeah, I'm the same. It's just difficult to keep track of stuff, and I lose it. I put a lot of tabs everywhere, but then I lose the tabs, and yes, it's a real problem. It's a kind of lopsided grenade. I love to play. I haven't touched much of the technical side of RPS, but other things, yeah. Nice. Yeah, I'll definitely put some more information in there. I might make a new tab in the Discord and just say, okay, this is some TTRPG stuff coming up. And then if anyone's interested, I'll maybe just post the doc there, and then you guys can just take it and run with it. And maybe if you've got like a gaming group, you can see if they want to try it out with you. It's all based on Mothership, the kind of Panic engine that they've made, because it's really cool and I feel like it fits the world very well. So I know a lot of the mechanical stuff works quite well, because I'm going to be reusing some of their mechanics. But then I've put a bunch of new stuff in there to have more of like a acceleration identity, and I'm hoping that will work. So I'll have to, see once people have play tested it a little bit. And also it would be a lot to read. Yeah. Honestly, I'd say post it in the Discord if you can. Because again, I think a lot of people would be interested in reading through it. I read a lot of them in the morning when I'm having my coffee, because it's like a good thing for me to catch up on the Discord. But all the stuff in there so far is really intriguing and different as well, which I think is cool. It's like a lot of like really unique ideas, and I think other people are doing a lot of like political stuff like you are. So I think you'll enjoy it. I haven't played D&D or other similar games, but I've always wanted to play. Yeah, I was the same. I'd never played them before, and my friends and I had always wanted to, and we'd kind of dabbled with it. We'd all taken it in turns to be a DM, and it had never really worked out. So what we did is we went on a forum called, I can't remember. We Googled how to find a DM, and there was a forum where people offer to DM for you, and they have options. So some people charge money for it, which I didn't realize was a thing at the time. But some people do it for free. They're just looking for a new group. So I ended up finding this guy, and he is now a good friend of ours. I think this was about maybe 6 years ago. And like, it's crazy because we met him on a forum. He DM'd our first game for us, which was Warhammer Fantasy RPG. He was really good at it. And he ended up DMing a bunch of other stuff for us, and now we're just really good friends. We game together, and we've met up a bunch of times, and it was an awesome experience. And I'm really happy we did it. So we've got this good gaming group that is also like our kind of D&D group. Unfortunately, life progresses, and we haven't really got around to playing again in a long time. But it was good times, and it was one of the big things that started me off drawing again. Just illustrating our D&D games, because it's like a really inspiring stuff. So highly recommend it. If you've never played RPG games before, honestly, I think anyone would enjoy it, as long as you've got like a bit of an open mind and you're interested in in being a bit creative, and everyone at the table is like really comfortable with each other. I think that's the perfect environment, because then you can kind of be yourself and play the way you want to play. And our group is very silly. Like, we're murder hobos, and we mess around a lot. But we've had some like serious moments as well, and some really nice RP moments, and it's awesome. It's just like a nice thing to do, and it's very different to like video games and other stuff like that. So highly recommend for sure. I've seen a lot of people recommend Obsidian for holding things. It seems pretty good for organizing. Obsidian, I've heard of that as well. Let me have a quick look. Obsidian. Oh yeah, I have heard of this. Yeah, so Obsidian, yeah, I think is exactly for that. I think it's like a writing app, right? Is to help you. Oh, it's like a scheduling app. And I think if just using it for yourself, I think it's free. Oh yeah, okay. So you have to pay if you want to use it on multiple devices. But I guess if you're just doing it on your computer, it's a good way to do it. Great idea. Yeah, I would say it's a good place to to hold stuff for sure. Sidon, what is Mothership? Mothership is a system that's like alternative to D&D, and it's used for like sci-fi horror games. So a lot of that is like very Alien, where a crew goes onto a ship and they're like trawler people in space, and they're on a mission, and then an alien stowaway ends up on board. Oh god, what did I do with that hand? I need to fix that hand. And then they have to deal with it, and everyone ends up dying horrible, gruesome deaths or things like that. So it's like it's a system where it's not really like D&D. You end up having to fight for your life, and you do all the typical sci-fi tropes of okay, there's a scratching coming from behind the door and you have to go investigate it, and it really encourages you to like follow those tropes and to like push your character to put himself in danger. It looks really fun, and I haven't played it yet, but I've seen I've listened to a lot of like RPG real plays on like Spotify and stuff, and they do some really good playthroughs of like Mothership games. So yeah, it's the system I want to base the acceleration on, because it's not about like fighting and winning. It's about fighting if you have to and surviving. So like, for example, hopefully the way it will come across in the game is a squad of you guys would perhaps be able to fight off some cultists, or like a small troll or a giant, but like a big troll or a massive like horde of like you end up in the middle of a cult headquarters, or you have to fight like a giant eagle. Okay, now your life is in danger, and it's like and so I want there to be kind of risk and reward type thing where it's and then you have to play kind of loose and fast with your character. So yeah, that's kind of the goal, and I think Mothership covers that quite well. The plugs are just an excuse for people to shoot each other. Yeah, nice, exactly. I would say that's the advantage with Pod 6 stuff, because I feel like it sets up the story very well. So if you have like a really good like political background and reasoning for it, it makes it seem much nicer. It's like Dune with is it Bene Gesserit, and they're kind of like setting up Paul to be the Messiah, and it's like thousands of years of planning, and then there's all the intrigue between the Emperor and obviously the dukes of these planets, and everything behind that is so well thought out. Honestly, can't stand the Dune books. I have never been able to read them. They're so difficult. Love the films. I think they're really good representation, the modern films, not the older ones. And I feel like they are a great example of why politics are important to put in like a like a space opera type thing. So yeah, I think making your book or world building story very politics heavy, I think can work really well for it. Like you said, allows you to have excuses for fighting. I think I'll start posting in the Discord when I'm ready and I have enough art. And when I can, I'll probably start on YouTube. Throndix, one thing I would say, this is advice I got, is just start now. I think it was actually from Dropout, like the comedy show on YouTube. Sam, like one of the, I think the CEO of Dropout, one of his bits of advice is just do it. Just like there's no reason to not do it right now. And a lot of people have the same idea, and the same with me. It's like, oh, I won't post it until it's ready, or I don't have enough now, and as soon as I have enough, I'll start posting and things like that. And honestly, that was how I felt before I started doing the acceleration stuff. And now I've got to the point where I'm posting every week, and I've gotten really active with my drawing, and I can see progress, and I'm really enjoying it. And we built this awesome community and stuff like that. And it all kind of just came from me being like, okay, I'm just gonna do it. Even if I'm not ready, I'll just get started. So I would say the same to you, mate. Just if you can, just start posting now. I'd love to see your stuff, and if you want to stick it in the Discord, or if you want to DM it over, I'd love to see it, honestly. Anything like that kind of inspires me, especially other people's ideas. Human history in a nutshell. Absolutely, yeah. I have plans to eventually post on YouTube. I want to finish the novel first. I've read your project and it seems quite interesting. I love World War I history. Yeah, honestly, I would say the same to you, Cinder. Just start, just go for it. I think I said in one of the other streams, I think now is one of the best times to be um, on YouTube for world building specifically, because um, I feel like a lot of oops, I feel like a lot of the sorry, I've just noticed someone a bot chatting in the thing. I'm just trying to delete it. I feel like a lot of genres on YouTube are really saturated, and there's so many things where it's just impossible to get started and to like maintain like a really good channel and to get people to see your stuff. But I feel like with world building, it's kind of just coming up now, and you see it a lot with people like Monster Garden, who's probably the biggest, if not one of the biggest, if not the biggest, world builder on YouTube. I think people can disagree with that if they like, but he's a great example of how he's been doing it for years, and now he's huge. He's like 250,000 followers. And then you've got people like me who's really small, and I've been doing it for less than 6 months, and it's already up to like 1,500 followers. And that was just like posting every 10 days. So I feel like if you start now, and it will help you to progress and to get really far, and then when you're really confident with all your things, you can just start doing more and more stuff. So I would say, sorry, I'm kind of talking and trying to ban this bot at the same time. I need to get a bot moderator or something. Okay, there we go. That's done. So yeah, honestly, that's my best piece of advice, and I would say it's the advice I was given, and it was very true, because now, like I said, 6 months later, it's worked out really well, and I found this is now like one of my primary hobbies is just creating, which is really cool, and I'm so happy I got started, and I'm very fortunate to have a very a good family who inspires me to do it and really follows up on it, and motivates me. I think that's a big aspect of it as well. But I think the main thing is, of course, you need to do it for yourself. So yeah, just get started, and I feel like you'll make progress as you do it. Not in the future, once you've made the progress, you should start doing it. That's my best piece of advice. Yeah. Drivel Stab, I just read your project and it seems quite interesting. I love it all one stuff. Yeah, I really like his stuff as well. He's done a lot of like, he's obviously thought about it a lot, and he's put a lot of ideas out there, and it was cool because I used to follow him on the Monster Garden Discord, which I also recommend if anyone wants more good Discords. And he was like bouncing ideas off of people in there as well, and I think it's developed, and he's like edited it a few times and thought of a few different ideas, and definitely I feel like he's done a really good job of like making it intriguing and different to like a standard sci-fi idea. Oh, not sci-fi, I guess, like because it's kind of fantasy and I think a bit steampunk as well. But yeah, with the whole like World War I background, but still like the fantasy races and magic and stuff. It's really cool. It's a great project for sure. Highly recommend. Athronics, Junior's absolute masterpiece, and the story is great, but yeah, the writing is really annoying. Yeah, honestly, I think it's like the worst thing about it. I think Herbert, whatever his face is, I don't think he was a very good person in real life, but yeah, he was just like the way he wrote and having a dictionary in the back of your book, that just puts me off. As soon as I see a dictionary that you have to read through to understand what's going on, I don't have the attention span for that. So yeah, I've tried Dune so many times, and a lot of people have said to me, you just need to push through it because it's just a fantastic series. I can't. I'll just watch the films. The films are great. The acting in it's great. The budget in it's great. They're great films. So I'll stick to that. Yeah, it's true. I might just need to get my ass to work. Honestly, that's the best advice. Yeah, just jump into it. Worst case scenario, nothing happens. Best case scenario, you quit your job and you become a professional streamer or artist or writer, and you know, I mean, that seems like a good kind of pros and cons type thing, right? That's my kind of idea with it. If nothing comes of this project, you know, I progressed a bit with my drawing, so that's great. And if something comes of this project, I quit my job and I can draw full time and I can hang out with my dog all day and hang out with my kids and everything like that. So it's just it's kind of a win, not lose, but win, neutral, things remain the same type thing. So yeah, good way to think of it. Molly, I would want to, but I can't draw for crap. I mean, I don't think that should hold you back. And you know, I don't really post my Instagram very much. I'm starting to post that a bit more on there. I think there's a link to it on my YouTube channel. But if you go back to the start of my Instagram, the drawings are not good. They're very basic, and I've just kind of scribbled, and I did them really fast, and I didn't put much effort into it. But that's how I started, and that was in 2018. So it wasn't that long ago, actually. And I'd say you start to see this kind of style emerge just like a couple of years later. And that's very like on and off drawing. So it wasn't even like as if I was drawing consistently for all that time. But I'd say that's another piece of advice, is just if you start now, in a couple of years you'll be really grateful that you did. And yeah, I'm so happy that I got back into it. And kind of experimented a lot with it and tried to do some fundamental stuff, and yeah, you know, it's kind of worked out now, I guess. Thank you for saying that. I've been posting my drawings, but I was beginning to have doubts. Thanks again. Yeah, man, just keep going. And I think that's a big problem nowadays, especially with social media, is you see a lot of other people's stuff, and it's super disheartening. It's like, oh man, I wish I was at that level, and I love this person's style, and my style's nothing like that. And I've had so many problems with that. You know, I think the phrase is FOMO, where it's like, okay, someone else has done all this, and they're like the same age as me or younger, and they're like 10 times better, and they're doing the job that I wish I had. But one thing to remember as well is you don't see a lot of their other stuff, for one. You know, I would say not to put them down. I'm sure they're incredible artists, and the other thing is they've probably been doing that kind of stuff their whole life, and they've worked super hard, and now you're seeing the end result of that. So it's the same kind of thing. You know, if you were to start now, you'd be surprised. Maybe you'll progress super, super fast, and you'll make like a massive difference, but maybe it'll just end up being like a couple of years of work, and then you'll be at the level that you want to be at. The same level as some of these people that you see on Instagram. So honestly, this is gonna be like I'm not gonna turn into like a motivation YouTuber, I don't think, but it worked for me, and it was advice that I was given. So I would hope it would work for you guys as well. Well, I used to think that too. I'm still not very good, but you'll probably be surprised how your drawing turns out with enough time. I agree, absolutely. That's one of the main things as well. Again, like my really early Instagram stuff is me doing like a 5-minute drawing or less than 5 minutes and being kind of disappointed at the end. Like, oh man, why doesn't it look good? And it's like a 5-minute drawing. I put like basically no effort into it. Whereas a lot of these drawings, I think the fastest I can do is maybe an hour or 45 minutes. And that would be like a really basic one. Obviously I'm just scribbling a lot on this one, but I'm trying to get a vibe for it. And then once it's ready, I think I'll like it more. But I think it's looking kind of cool. I like his kind of bat face. That's not quite right, is it? But yeah, that's it. Put a lot of time into it. Put more time than you think. Use references. Practice fundamentals. And just be patient. That's probably the best advice. I think it's funny because I used to... actually, this is a very good piece of advice. I know it's a cupcake. What? No, it does look like a cupcake. Oh, no. Oh, what do I do? How dare you cupcake my bomb? I put effort into that. Ow. Okay, right. How about if I... Oh, it does look like a cupcake. Okay, look. How about that? Does that look better? As soon as I read that comment, I was like, oh, you're so right. Damn it. Is that better? Does that look less cupcake-ish? hope. What was the other piece of advice I was going to give? That was very, very important. No, I can't remember. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. Just draw as much. Ah, yeah, that was it. Okay. So a really danger cupcake, a really big piece of advice that helped me kind of break out of a bit of a cycle with drawing is you should be drawing more than doing tutorials. I think, we're kind of in a world now of Humble Bundle and Dominica and Udemy, where you can buy like a 30-hour tutorial on how to draw good. And you can buy like 17 of these. And they give you a lot of the same advice. And the advice is things like, okay, practice your fundamentals, use references. I mean, the good ones, that's what the good ones say. Whereas a lot of the ones which I don't recommend are things like, okay, I'm going to draw like this, copy exactly how I'm drawing it. So yeah, that's you can get that advice for free. I'll give you it right now. Just practice your fundamentals, draw a little bit every day, and you'll see progress. It's like and then I think a big thing for a lot of artistic people is that we want results quickly, and we have short attention spans. So I think if you can find patience or like find a like a way to make it a habit, I feel like that's the best way to do it. I'm so far from where I want to be with my illustrations, but I think I'm making progress. I'm getting there. I'll figure that one day. Make it the circle cup. Yeah, right. That looks less like a cupcake, right? Can everyone please tell me that? I'm paranoid about my cupcake, because it needs to read as a bomb. I think it's a big advantage of having like YouTube video type things is you can kind of explain your drawing to people. I do this a lot. I post a lot of my art to my family like art group because all my family are into art stuff, and every time I'll say, okay, this is the picture and this is what I'm gonna say in the video, and they're like, okay, well when you say that in the video, that will look like that, so that's okay. So I can give it a lot more context, but I feel like without the like the voiceover and talking and everything, yeah, absolutely. I think it'll look like people are throwing cupcakes at each other. It still looks like a cupcake. Ah, maybe it's not circular enough, or maybe it's too big. Wait, let me draw another one, and I'll stick it in his hand. Right. Okay, let's try again. I can't believe this. All right. Sorry, I've missed a few comments here. Let me have a look. I agree with you. The dictionary, except for Tolkien stuff, without the dictionary, it's hard to follow, but it's still a fucking blessing to read. Yeah, okay, that's a good example. Tolkien is an exception in that. I think the difference with Tolkien is he made like a language, and it's thematic as well. So it's like, a lot of it is incorporated, and you see it a lot in the movies and in a lot of other aspects of Lord of the Rings. It's like such an essential part of it, because I think primarily Tolkien was a linguist. That's like a big aspect of his like interest in writing, and like obviously he was a poet and all that kind of thing. So language was super important to him. So I think he's a good example of how writing should be made. The problem with Frank Hubert, or whatever his name is he, I don't know. I didn't like it. I couldn't follow it, and it was difficult. I couldn't get a read on it. That was the problem. Yeah. I think we'll never unsee it now. No! I think it is the dark shade. If it were a cupcake paper. How about that? The new bomb. Can we agree the new bomb is okay? Is that a bit better? I'll stick that in his hand. I'll do a copy of that and stick that in his hand and see what we think. Let me copy this one. Separate it. Okay. Right. Let's add this in. just try to learn the other person's style and incorporate it into your own, and then you get the level you want. That's good advice. Yeah, I see what you mean. I agree to that. It's like you should take pieces of what you like from other people's work. I think one thing to be careful of with that is like, I think once you have established a bit of a style and you see yourself making progress in that style, it's important to make sure that you're not just changing it, because I think that's like a very typical ADHD issue with. Oh, maybe the thumb was the right way. Where did the thumb go? Oh, no, it's on the other side. Okay. Where we were like, okay, let's do the next best thing. I'm gonna copy this guy's style because I prefer it to my own, and I think that's a bit dangerous in a sense. You know, you because you could do that for the rest of your life and just never be happy with your style. But I see what you mean. Absolutely, it's like, you know, if you like the way someone does like silhouettes or the way they do shading or like some of the pens they use, I think it can be a good way to keep yourself inspired. Cool. Definitely, yeah. His language and stuff is makes it so much better. I agree. Yeah. I just line my way through conlangs where I describe how it sounds and translate when you need to understand. What's a conlang? What does that mean? Oh yeah, okay. Throndix is asking the same question. Do you know? There's a really interesting thing that Tolkien said originally. I actually heard this through. I can't remember the name of the writer, the really famous fantasy writer. Where he talks about how if you have an ottoman in your world, like as in like the piece of furniture, does that mean the Ottoman Empire exists in your world? Which is like a really cool like thought exercise. And the Tolkien explanation for it is the document that you're reading, like The Lord of the Rings or The Hobbit, is a translation into your language, and therefore Ottoman has been translated into your language. So that type of chair is what that would be described as. So I think it's made up language for books. Oh, I didn't realize that. Conlangs. Oh, that makes sense. Like con as in fake and then lang as in language. Sure. Constructed languages. Oh, like constructed languages, yeah. Oh, that's interesting. Thank you for that, Molly. I didn't know that. Yeah. So the way he describes it is, if your document is being translated, then that's how that piece of furniture would be described in English, or whatever language you read in, which I think is cool because it lets you get away with whatever you like. And so if you're in like a fantasy novel and it's like, you know, set in the medieval period, and you use like a really modern expression to describe something, it's acceptable because it's a translated document, which I think is a really cool idea. And it just means that, you know, you don't have to be a stickler for your own book, and you can let yourself get away with a lot more. You know, I like, well, I wouldn't say I like languages a lot. I would say I'm okay at languages, but I think I love reading into like etymology and that kind of stuff, and I feel like you could really have a really interesting book if you followed some of this stuff really closely, but it would take up so much time, and unless you're into that kind of particular book writing, something really in depth like Tolkien or June, yeah, I think it'd be impossible. So yeah, I kind of probably a bit lazy with it, but I think I will give myself a way to look through it. Hyperion. I think you recommended that last time, Red Cape. I did write it actually in my my big Excel spreadsheet full of recommendations. Hyperion. Is that the one with the aliens? Hyperion book. Let me Google it. Interesting. So I'm just looking at this this book, Hyperion, by Dan Simmons. What's it about? Can you give us a TLDR? Man in the Red Cape? My thread is too big. I intend to post 30,456 words. Wow. But the limit is 2,000. Okay. So, I mean, you've written a book. That's awesome. Wow. Are you planning on publishing it, Sidon? It's basically what I do. Basically, whatever language my POV character speaks is translated into English, and everything they don't understand is described phonetically. Awesome. Yeah. I think that's probably the most common way of doing it, and because it's like the most readable. I think, a lot of perhaps fantasy stuff that's really in depth and complicated. I don't know if it's accessible to everybody, and especially if you want like an audience to read your book, I think it's the best way to do it generally. I like this guy. I think he's doing pretty well. Need to make him a bit fluffier. He looks a bit freaky. He's not as cute as the actual bat, but I think he's looking pretty cool. I think I don't know if I'm going to do any colour for this guy. I think I'll keep him black and white. I need to do a bit of shadow though. Yes, I do intend to publish it, and maybe the law book. Nice. I think it's so cool that we kind of live in this age of just being able to like create whatever you like and show it to people and get feedback and progress and take tutorials and chat about it. Because I think, imagine how many people in the past were like making books and stuff, and that would just never be seen, or they would just be too scared to do it, and they would just never show it to anybody, and it would go unpublished, unseen. There must have been so many instances of exactly that, and I feel like now we've got things like Discord and that kind of stuff that we can share it with everybody. It's nice. I think a big aspect of what's kept me motivated is things like this, just doing this stream. Obviously, I've only been doing it for a few weeks, but I really look forward to it, and it's nice to kind of come in here and chat about the project and hear other people's projects. So it sounds a bit cheesy, but no, I think it's like so nice to have this kind of opportunity to do this. And so I recommend it to everybody else as well. If you guys are doing stuff, getting out there, showing it to people, it's cool. Big recommend. You can discover the world of book publishing, but maybe now must be easier than before. Yeah, my little brother's a writer. He's just going through his second book now, and he is he's like in the lit RPG world. So I think with a lot of lit RPGs, a lot of it is like self-published stuff, like Royal Road and websites where you can kind of progress. They can like post chapters for people to review. And I think he's not really interested in joining the publishing world, or at least not for now. And I think that's a big reason why there's a lot of it's a bit like the music industry, where it's just a lot of people in big positions taking advantage of creative people. So I don't know. I think it's worth having a look and seeing what's available, I guess, with your book idea. You might be the next J.K. Rowling, but I think even self-publishing is such a viable thing nowadays. It'd be a cool idea to try it for sure. Mana Red Cape. It's about like a sci-fi universe, but it's a cosmic horror, and has multiple gods, and it has God sent monsters to kill people and alien tech in so many languages. It's a really good book. Nice. Okay, Hyperion. Dan Simmons. I've got it. I think I did add that. I think you mentioned it last stream, but I'll make sure I add it into the thing now if I haven't yet. What book is it? I don't know if he shared it. He's written his first book. I don't know if he shared it anywhere, but he's on Royal Road. I'll see if I can find it next time. I'll ask him about it because I don't know how public he wants to make it yet. He's just finished his second book, so he's going to be published. He's going to be posting that soon. I actually helped him with the cover art for the second book. But I'll speak to him and I'll share it next time. He's a really good writer, and he's very motivated, and he manages to get shit done, which I feel like it's difficult for me. So he's a good inspiration for my art as well. but I think he's definitely got some great ideas as well. He goes through the same thing I think a lot of creative people do, where they'll be working on a project and they'll be like, okay, I've got an idea for another project, and then, so he's got some other cool ideas which he's considered. But his current book that he's just editing at the moment is really cool. Does anyone else read lit RPGs? I'm completely obsessed with them at the moment. It's pretty much the only thing I read, but I highly recommend them if you don't. Honestly, self-publishing becomes more available. It's such a great thing. Yeah, I agree, definitely. I think it's one of those things that I'll just allow a lot of people to kind of push through to more listeners. I think it's such a shame with, like, it's like the music industry, right? It's like you kind of have to go through producers who are just vultures, and there's so many amazingly talented people that you see on like social media and stuff, and who are just so good at just creating, and yeah, you never really hear about it because they kind of get blocked out by that industry. And I feel like now, I don't go on SoundCloud much, but it's more accessible than ever to be able to get through to like listeners, which is awesome. So hopefully writing will be the same at some point. Here you go. Here's my cheat code for grass. Got my grass stamp. I can't remember if this was one I bought or if it's just the standard one that comes with thingy. Oh god, that looks awful. 1 second. Let's make this a bit better. Yeah, so does anyone read lit RPGs at all? It's like I think it's quite a new genre in Western Europe. I want to say, because I feel like it's like a product of like Eastern literature. It's like a really popular thing in the East with like obviously the whole like Sword Art Online and these kind of things where obviously like a person from the real world who gets trapped in like a video game. But yeah, I feel like I quite like Western. Well, no, that's not true. I like some of the lit RPGs that I've read so far. Now the bomb looks like a cherry or apple. Sorry, I can't see it. Kind of like a pear. No. Oh, what can I do to make it look like a bomb? I could give it like the grenade texture, I guess. What does a grenade look like? Like a modern grenade. Well, they've got like the... Right, we're going to do this. I'm going to make a... You guys are forcing my hand. No. I thought that looked quite good. I thought it looked kind of bomby. I guess not. Right, I'm going to give it these big like frag grenade square things. And then hopefully this will fix the problem. Let's see how it goes. Right, I'm just using a reference on my monitor. Let's see if it looks a bit more bummy. Does that start to look bummy? Not really. It looks a bit more like a pineapple now. I don't know how to draw a bomb. No. Light the fuse. Oh, that is a great idea. Right, let's get rid of that. Godfall. This is the big reason why I can't do traditional art, because I can't delete my progress if I do traditional art. The thing is, the problem is, right? Okay, so just from an artistic perspective, I feel like lighting the fuse would work. However, he's planting the bomb as an ambush. I suppose maybe the... Okay, let's try it. Let's see what it looks like. Maybe it'll work. I have faith in you guys. Okay. Let's see how this looks. Let's do a bit of a light fuse here. Does that look more like a bomb? Just like a cupcake with a candle in it. No! Oh. The problem is I totally agree with you. It's like as soon as you said it, I was like, oh, I can't unsee it now. No. Here we go. If you put the bat in the ranger video, mention us to let the world know about the bomb. Yeah, I will say, okay, this is a ranger. He has a bomb. The thing in his hand is a bomb. It is a bomb. I'll say it 3 times, and then no one will be able to disagree with me because I would have said it so many times. Is it a fruit bat? Ha ha. I like that. That was a good one. Yeah. I think this looks better. I think you guys were right. Just the fuse alone makes a big difference for sure. Pomegranate. Well, that's where the word grenade comes from, right? Because it's the French word for pomegranate is grenada. Grenada is a pomegranate. I think it's the French grenade. Someone could correct me on that if I'm wrong there. It does look better now. Thank you, Strawberry Molly. Yeah, yes it does. Thanks, guys. Okay, you guys are right. I'm glad you're here to help me with this. Otherwise, I would have just stuck up a video and everyone would be like, oh, are the Rangers like bakers or something? Okay, nice. Lit on fire pomegranate. No. I think one thing I'm starting to realize now as well is I need a lot of like side light on some of these images. Because I feel like side light always makes like a secondary light source, because I feel like that always makes like such a big difference in art. I don't take advantage of it enough. Do that with this spade as well. I think that looks pretty good. It's okay, right? It kind of tells a story a little bit with the spade. This is supposed to be a bit of a hole. If I do some light here, makes it look a bit more holy, I guess. Nice. What do you guys think? Should make the smoke a little longer. Yeah, I agree. Let's push it up a little bit as well. A flat brush for this. Actually, the charcoal pen was a bit better. Maybe a bit thinner as well. There you go. Okay. What do you guys think? Look at it from a flat view. I quite like that. That's not bad, right? I think the body position isn't perfect. I probably could have used a reference there. But he's, I think it kind of shows his like squat form. Maybe the bat face could be a bit better. What is the bag? I think it's a bag next to him on the right side of the screen. It is a bag, correct? It's supposed to be like a satchel. Oops. And so the story here is supposed to be, okay, he's a scout. He's, you know, planting a bomb, perhaps ahead of a marching battalion, or fruits. I'm never gonna live this down now. He's gonna. Anyone else who like joins the stream at another time, and there's gonna be loads of people every stream be like, oh, bring out the cupcakes. Is gonna be the story here is he's marched ahead of a battalion to like get in front of them. He's dug a hole where they're gonna walk or where they're gonna camp, and he's gonna bury a bomb in the hole. They're gonna walk across it when he's nowhere near them, and it's gonna detonate. So he's run ahead. He's got his spade and he's got his satchel, which is here, and which had the bomb inside of it, essentially. So that's the idea. It's very explosive pairs. No. Oh. It does. It even looks like it's like full of something, right? Shall I just draw? I'm gonna draw a little apple falling out of it. I need to. There needs to be a law reason why there's a bag here. Let's do a little apple. Or a pear. There you go. Is everyone happy now? You forced me to conform and create some fruit. There you go. I'll include your little pear there. There we go. Finally got fruits. I expose all these posters. Pears. Fruit seller. I mean, that could. It may. Oh, there you go. Maybe he's posing as a fruit seller. He's like, oh, anyone in in your military want any fruits? That's all. And then, boom. I'll just duplicate this. Do a little mask. There we go. Okay, one pair. That's all. That's all you get. Please, nobody tell me that this pear looks like a bomb, because I will flip out. No, I just read that. Oh, the man in the red coat. No. I shouldn't have said anything. As soon as I said it, and then I looked up and see someone else has already said it. I love the fact that it just came back. There's no idea where the fruit thing. Yeah, Sydney, you might have missed. You might have missed a lot that's happened here. The bat, the lore behind the bat is that he's a fruit seller. That's as much information as I'm going to give out. Make this fruit a little bit shiny. A few scratches. Need a bit of darkness there. Some little squiggles for the grass. There you go. Had some, these guys as bombs as fruit, plants them on the side of the road so nobody looks twice at them. Then boom. Nice. Add some spots on the pear, make it look less like a bomb. You're right. Oh god. No, it's not far off a pear. I kind of improvised the pear, but again I should be using references. Give it a few little spots. Being mocked on my own stream. I'll just look a little bit better. I think it's one of the big advantages of having a. I was a bit diseased actually. One of the big advantages of having an iPad. If anyone's interested in drawing and you get into it a little bit, I would definitely recommend an iPad. I'm not an Apple person. I have a Samsung. I have a PC. Windows. I'm not a big Apple guy, but iPads are awesome. And especially if you compare them to like those monitors that you hook up to your computer to do illustration with, they're just so good at what they do. So I highly recommend it. Not an Apple guy, but I am an iPad guy for sure. Okay, that doesn't look like a pear anymore. It looks like some foreign fruit. I think it's the shape. What does a pear look like? Maybe a bit lighter. The pear in his hand or in the ground? I'm never gonna live this down. No. Go to the airbrush tool and look for spots. Yeah, good idea. Spray paint. There you go. Alright. Let's just do oops. Add this in here. Oh yeah, kind of looks like an organ or something. I don't know what I've done wrong. Maybe it's too dark. Right. Let's make it a bit lighter. That's a problem. God, I can't draw a bomb, and it looks like a fruit. And now I can't draw a fruit because it looks like something else. This is infuriating. Does anyone know why I have number 1 next to me? It's a YouTube thing. Chat participation. Yes, can you? I'd like to most. I think, is it participation or is it like person who arrived first? I know, actually no, because you were there first, weren't you? Man in the red cape. I think you're right. Yeah, someone who's talked most. Fanciness. That's a good way to determine it. Everyone looks very fancy with their extra title. Right, there you go. Okay, it's an Easter egg pear, so that's the best I'm gonna do with that. I can't focus too much on the pear, but I think other than that, it's looking cool. That looks like a bomb now. I'll hear nothing else of it. Next minute, I'll mention this bomb, this fruit bomb. I will hear nothing else about the bomb. I'm gonna put in my stream details word bomb banned. Banned from the word pair banned from the stream. I like it. I like the lore behind him. That he's a fruit seller and he has managed to sneak up on people by pretending to sell fruit, and he plants a bomb at their feet, and at least they're expecting it, and boom. I think that's the best way to say it. Right. Oh gosh, it's just in the time. Okay, I think I have to wrap it up around here. That looks cool. I think thanks guys for the suggestion. I think bat was a good choice. The other choices, what were they? They were spider, jumping spider, crickets, and a lizard. I think they were all good choices, but the bat I think worked out, and it's good as well because he does look like a little sneaky fella. So I think that was a good one to choose. I don't even know if I'm going to work on this anymore after this. I think I'll just kind of leave it as is. Like I said, the plan is to get the Ranger video sorted this week. So I might just... I mean, this isn't even for the Ranger video. This is just me distracting myself. So I'm going to work on this a little bit more in my free time. But, you know, before then I'm going to try to make sure that this video is done, because I'm long overdue a video. But oh, Sid, that's the first time I've shared my story. Thanks, mate. Yeah, I really appreciate it. I'm gonna have a look through. Like I said, I'm gonna have a look through the. I generally have a look through the projects in the morning when I'm having my coffee. So I'll definitely make sure to check it out. Oh, where did you post it? So I'm gonna have a look through that after the chat. Where did you put it in the? Did you put it in the pro? Ah, there we go. Okay, it's just popped up for me now. Great. Gene Craft. Okay, I'm looking forward to reading that. So that's gonna be my coffee reading in the morning. But thanks everyone for stopping by on the stream anyway. Really appreciate you guys turning up. You know, it's nice to have this crowd. I appreciate you guys, you know, being in for the last few streams, and it just makes things a lot easier. You know, if you guys are interested, I don't know if everyone's already in the Discord, but the Discord is it's been a really cool experience, you know, chatting with everyone in there, and I think everyone's been able to kind of share their projects as well, which is cool because then I can see what you guys are working on. So if anyone's not in the Discord yet, you know, feel free to join. I'll just post another link. One more thing as well. I've got a couple of other places to visit. I'm posting more on Instagram now, so if you like just some of the images as opposed to the story, you'll see some bigger images on there. So that'll be like, you'll be able to zoom in a little bit more. I'm going to post there every couple of days and do some reels, so you'll see a bit more of my process as well. So it could be a good place to check out. It's under Ross Weird Inc. because my name's Ross. So one to have a look at. I think I just posted the Wildcat illustration, the video on there. So if if anyone's interested. Haha, Sidon, you've lost second place to Throndix now. Last of all, I have a free Patreon. I like to highlight the fact that it's free because it doesn't cost any money. But the one thing I'm doing on there is posting a newsletter, and that's going to be every 2 weeks. So the next one's coming up probably after I post the video for the Rangers. On there, I do a newsletter, and that's going to be a bit more where I share some recommendations for books and just post news like a newsletter. So it just means I don't have to send out an email to everyone. I can just send it directly to people on Patreon. The reason why is just in the future, if I do sell any art, I'll probably sell it through there because it's quite a simple way of getting it out. So if I have a bunch of people on there who are kind of interested in the project, then it could be a way to reach you guys. But for the moment, it's just going to be a newsletter. So if anyone's interested, it would be a cool place to check out. I'll just post the link for that as well. But thank you so much, guys. Honestly, I really, really appreciate it. You guys are awesome. I love the fruit stuff, even though I felt the first bomb was nice. I appreciate the feedback, and you guys are officially in the acceleration as this pair. That is your place in the acceleration. Man in Red Cape, what's your Instagram? I've just posted it in the chat just above. If you want to check that out. So Instagram.com RossWeirdInc. That's my original tagline that I was going for. So yeah, awesome. Really appreciate all you guys being here. And I'll be on the same time next week for the foreseeable future. But yeah, and again, thanks for all you guys posting in the Discord as well. Won't be... yeah, so let's go. We're a pair. That's right. I'll have to revise my novel. Thanks, guys. Have a great week, and I will see you in the next one. Cheers, cheers, cheers.